Good morning, everyone. It's Leanne Scott here from the Profitable Podcast. And with me today, I have the amazing Danny Clarke. And we are going to talk about everything Go High Level today, and especially about the upcoming Ultimate SaaS Summit. Now, what's exciting about the Ultimate SaaS Summit is that it is the first unofficial Go High Level event being held in the UK. Now, I'm very excited because I'll be sharing the stage with 12 other amazing speakers. And Danny is the brains behind getting this going. We've been watching all the parties and learning happening over in the US. And so I'm just so absolutely delighted that this year in May, 23 to, is it 23, Danny? 23, 24? 24 to 25th of May, we will be in Birmingham sharing the stage and learning all about how to really leverage Go High Level if you are an agency owner. So welcome, Danny. I'm absolutely delighted to have you here. Please tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, because you've got the Easy Peasy Business, best name ever. And also, let's talk a bit about why you decided to bring Go High Level to the UK.
So thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. So Danny Clarke, founder of Peasy Business. One of the things that we do is we run a white label of High Level. So it's a SaaS. We have just under 800 people that we're helping through the platform. For me, this business was built off the back of a previous company that my wife and I had built together, which was more in the personal brand, the coaching, the training, the social media space. We were very fortunate, right place, right time, and grew that company over a 5-year period to 130,000 customers across 76 countries around the world, pretty much just inside of a Facebook group. Crazy times. Like that is, you can't really do that anymore.
Wow.
It was really cool. It was really fun. And but having gone through that, suffering a whole bunch of PTSD and stress from building a business in that way, pretty much just two people, those customers, it was like, right, what are we going to do next time? How are we going to do this in another way? And all of the things that we wish we'd got right, first time around. And let's rebuild something from scratch, all these cool things we've learned, all these cool people that we know, and let's have a second go around. But this time, rather than it being about, our own personal success, what would a legacy business for us look like, where we can just serve the community, provide tools, resources, software, a space for others to build up our platform. And so that's what we started to do. And it's going from strength to strength. It's kind of funny, in this high level world, in these new pockets of communities that you come into, people are like, who the hell is this guy? Where's he come from? Like, well, it's kind of one of those 10-year overnight success stories, that you tend to hear about. Yeah. And that just led us into creating the idea for putting on an event for the UK for high level users. And there was no aspiration to do so. There was no long-term planning or thinking. It was just a case of, looking and realizing that all the events are in America, like most of these companies. So it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It just tends to be that's where the market is served better. And we asked the question, and loads of people said, yeah, I would really, really like to come to something like that. So we said to High Level, hey, put on an event. There's loads of people. And they said, we just can't do it at the moment. So I said, well, I best do it myself then. And that's how it started. And we took a bit of a risk. We didn't have a huge name in the high level community because we'd kept out of it because we just watered our own garden, focusing purely on our white label. So we didn't have a big name or reputation in that, although we did in other places. And we just got to work. We put the idea out. We found the speakers and the people that shared our vision. And bit by bit, we just worked it out, figured it out. And in just a few weeks' time, we'll be going live and doing our very best to help serve the community.
Amazing. Now, for those who don't know High Level, what is it? What is High Level exactly? So Go High Level is a white label platform that agencies, marketing agencies, lead generation agencies can use to really serve their customers. Now, the secret to success in marketing, podcasting, any of that kind of realm is actually being able to provide systems, repeatable systems and processes so that you're leveraging workflows and automations and AI, but you're putting the humans back where they belong. Danny, how are you using Go High Level for your agency? You said you had just under 800 clients on there.
Yeah. So the first thing is, if you were to go back a few years to when we really started seeing success, and if someone said to me, right, I want you to use one platform and everything's on it, I'd have said to them, absolutely not. No chance, no way, because it would have felt too high risk. But as we were speaking about before the podcast, what's happened over the past few years is that building a business, it should become easier, but natural practice become harder. And there are so many pieces that you need. You know, if you just get started day one in a business, well, chances are you need some form of social media scheduler, you need some sort of calendar, you need a payment system, you might need a funnel builder or a website builder. And that's without really doing anything. You're not really included membership builders, course builders. Even just a brand new to business entrepreneur can require 7 or 8 pieces of tech. Well, fine. We'll go and find a few different tech sources, no problem. The risk, though, comes with growth and with the limitations of how these platforms communicate and talk to each other. And this was the big struggle that we had. We found these during our previous business, the growing pains of using tools like Zapier and integrations and third-party tools to make things work. Our business was stuck together with, sticky tape, with duct tape, and it would just break all the time. It wasn't reliable, and it would just put in place so much anxiety and fear and worry and panic of, well, I want to do this big launch, but what happens if it breaks? What happens if it goes wrong? That's not a really nice place to be able to build your business from, where you have fear of tech and fear of things breaking. So when we came across High Level, we was kind of doing our own version of it using WordPress and different email autoresponder systems, kind of piece this together in the simplest way that we could. And when we found it was like, yeah, this is the one. And then we went all in on the platform. And the more that I've used it over the last couple of years, the one thing that I know that they get right, it's not just the fact that it's an all-in-one platform, which reduces risk of things going wrong, and it simplifies process because it's all in one house. But what they get so right is the way that people can brand and take ownership of their business, because we're in the time now where most entrepreneurs are somewhat experienced, but those who aren't, they're coming with different expectations, and they want to be able to personalize. They want to be able to white label. They want to be able to put their name on the door, because so many people have built businesses for other people. They've promoted ClickFunnels, they've promoted Thinkific, they've promoted all these, and they realize that eventually, well, if I just built my own platform as such, without all the risk and the expenditure, that's better for me, that's better for my brand, that's better for my community, and it's just a tick, tick, tick win in the box. And so many people can leverage High Level as an incredible tool, which is what we've been able to do. We lean on the SaaS model. So we use the software, we add some service, we include the templates and the frameworks and the funnel structures to make it as easy as possible for people to generate more leads, more sales, more revenue for the business. And it's such an amazing opportunity because it is so easy to actually create something which, boy, like 7-8 years ago, you could have only ever dreamed of having something like that. And for how much it costs you, it's crazy not to use the tool. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can still remember where you were looking and you had to have every website custom built. And so when WordPress came and you suddenly have this amazing drag and drop functionality, you're like, anyone can do this. And look at Canva. You've been able to, where you only had Adobe Photoshop and InDesign, which is the most complicated system. Even after having done a course, I just couldn't get it. But Canva, oh my goodness, you can create anything. And I always said, if I could build websites and apps and I could design, and obviously I'm a copywriter as well, I'm like, the world's your oyster, really. So what we did with Go High Level is we took it, and for me, so if you're an agency owner, what I think is really special about Go High Level is that you can take your expertise and really box it up, for want of a better word. And so what we've done is build a podcast in a box. And it means that every aspect of podcasting can be managed as opposed to feeling like you're herding cats. Because let's face it, when you're building a podcast, you need to find guests, you need to invite them, you need to book them on, and you need to prep them for the day. And then once you've actually recorded, there's so much that needs to happen that if we leverage workflows and automations and AI, it actually means that the host gets to do what they're really good at, which is connecting with people and hosting. And so that's how we've used Go High Level, is looking at how can we make it an effortless experience, and using what we know about creating the content, and that we've been able to really refine inside Go High Level and white label it, which I just think it's a phenomenal approach to a platform that we could only dream of 10 years ago.
Yeah. And I think what you've just described is actually a really important next level that people can go to with their businesses, because we used to be in the teaching coaching space. And so we'd share these really great ideas and these strategies, and people would want to implement them, but then they was left to figure it out on their own, because they would have to go and find all these different tech stacks and solutions. And then what happens is it just creates a confused mind for people. Now you can take your proprietary ideas, your turnkey solutions, your frameworks. You can actually go into a platform, build it all out, and you can give people a literal, like a podcast in a box, like a business in a box. So for anyone who coach, agencies, course creators, rather than just saying, here's how you do it, actually now you can show people, you can provide the information, but you can also provide the assets, the solution. And so that works so well on both sides of the coin, because for the consumer, the customer, they get a much better product and service. But for you, the business owner, you then get a much stickier type of business, because as soon as you provide everything for a client, they've no reason to look elsewhere. So client retention increases, tenfold. And it's not just about retention, because retention really, what is it? It's happy customers. And happy customers are having success and they're achieving things. And that's really what this should all be about. It shouldn't ever be about, well, who's the best marketer with the slickest funnel and the coolest things. I know some people love that. But for me, what is a successful business? It's when somebody has a quality product or a quality service, they're able to provide that at a reasonable price point that is fair for all concerned, and people achieve the outcomes that they want to achieve. Now, if you can package that up and do it consistently to a lot more people, well, then that's the business which you're growing and scaling. And this is what you can do by leveraging a platform like High Level.
Yeah. So we've taken that even a step further, and we've been playing a lot with custom GPTs. And we've actually trained our GPTs and then integrated them into our High Level platform, Podcast in the Box, on how to create show notes, how to repurpose an episode so that it's ready for scheduling. And then we schedule it through the High Level platform. And we've seen that now suddenly how we think about the marketing aspect of a podcast, as an example. We've taught our GPT how to think like us. Obviously, we still have humans intervene, but the results are phenomenal. Have you played much with AI and GPTs with your platform?
Oh, I love it.
Or
Like we're always tinkering with OpenAI, and it's such a fun thing to do. It's probably a little bit of a distraction sometimes, because there's so much potential with it. But how you describing your use of it, I mean, I've said this to you before. You guys with Podcast in a Box, it's such a cool way, and without a doubt, the reason that we've asked you to speak is because we've seen you from afar and what you're doing. I'm thinking, well, that's really just bloody cool. And that's such a smart, sensible way of actually using this tool, because you just provide, well, already a great production service, right? Because you have people who are producing podcasts. Yeah. But when you can just provide those extra little bits, even like the way that you're using AI, well, that's just a benefit to all concerned, right? It means it's allows you to have a better, quicker system, because show notes can be done instantly. It means that you can reduce costs. It means that there's not an expectation there on having to hire additional staff members, which can slow things down. It's better for the customer. And what this is all down to is And this is one of the things that I had as a concern before stepping into the high level world, because we've seen all these big things before, right? And
Yeah.
you can often outgrow a software, you can outgrow a platform, and you think to yourself, I'm kind of stuck here now. For me to move to something else, that's going to take a heck of a lot of work. And I don't think most people want to be continually looking and rebuilding. I think a lot of people, that's why we
Yeah.
buy houses. That's why we stay in communities. We like to like bed in. We like to kind of like dig our roots into something. And this actually, for me,
Yeah.
has given me the freedom to go, all right, I planted my flag. This is where I'm building my business, because I have the trust and the faith and the founders of High Level and the vision, and how they just keep showing that they're growing and growing and growing and moving forward, and the way their servant-based leadership is, that I can be comfortable to know I don't have to pivot and go anywhere else. I don't have to rebuild this in a few years' time. I can stay here for the duration, which allows me to do things like with the AI. Well, it's worth me building this here. It's worth me investing time. It's worth me investing energy, because this is my home. Like, this is where my business is built. And it's such a comforting, reassuring thing. A few years ago, 2017, 2018, my wife and I, with our 3 kids at the time, we went traveling around the world. And it was an amazing experience traveling the world. But eventually, we just started to get that little bit of a feeling of, I don't want to keep moving about, jumping from place to place to place. I
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
grounded into something. And it's the same feelings that I get now. Like all of the worries and anxieties about, should I, what about this? Could this be better? What about if I did this? They've gone. And that used to take so much like bandwidth for me, about the, shoulda,
Yeah.
coulda, wouldas, what I should be doing. And it just allows me to focus on what I should be doing. And I think for an entrepreneur, because most of us are creatives, most of us have got busy brains, we're thinking of ideas, shiny ball, to be able to just focus and stay committed and dedicated on just optimizing and building a better business month after month, year after year. I think it's such a cool way, to be able to grow your business. And I really, really enjoy that. And it's so awesome to see how you guys are doing podcasts in a box. Like I'm such a fan, like, in the background, like, oh, yeah, go to those guys. They're awesome. They're awesome.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing. Yeah, I had to agree with you, because I've dabbled in app development, and I'm kind of that weird in the middle. I possibly could have been a techie and a coder, but I'm also very creative. So now I get to bring the two together. And I have dabbled in app development with development teams, and it's almost like the minute you finish developing the platform to a certain point, you almost have to start again, because the tech has moved on or something's broken. Whereas with High Level, what I love is that they are constantly adding features, updating, fixing. So they are managing that kind of engine, and they take care of the headache, because there is a headache, a tech headache there, I'm sure. I'm surprised Sean Clarke is able to stay as positive and happy and interactive with the communities he does, because he must really deal with a lot. But we get to put the engine, the chassis on, not the engine, the chassis on top, and the colors. And so we really get to tap into our own zones of genius without getting distracted by the tech. So I think that's amazing the way they've done that. So I definitely want to talk a little bit more about the upcoming event. So you've told us a bit about how it started and why you're doing it, but what can we expect on the day? Tell us a bit about the speakers that are coming. Tell us about the event and why we absolutely have to be there.
So I'd say that the first thing is this: before we even go into the speakers, before we even get the value of events and the change it can make, I would just say this: if you're a high level user, it is to your advantage to support this event, whether that be by buying a ticket and putting your bum in a seat, or whether that be telling other people about it. Because the more that we can get eyes and ears on this event, the more that we get eyes and ears on High Level, the more opportunities that it creates for us as a marketplace in the UK and Europe. Because let's be frank, if we can get those guys from high level over here for an official event, well, we need to prove that there is a market for this type of thing for these guys. And so I would say this is a investment. It is a leap of faith. It is a placement of trust into the high level community. Now, with that, I do want to be clear. This is an unofficial high level event. They know that we're running the event. I'm speaking to Sean and Wesley, who are pretty much, so Sean's one of the founders, Wesley's head of marketing, pretty much every day about what's going on. So whilst it's unofficial, they know about it and they want it to go really well for us. And the reason that they want it to go well is for the reasons that I said. Now, whilst you're there, it's not just about support. We want to make sure that you get a incredible return on your investment. Tickets can be bought for just £99. So it's crazy low price for an event such as this. But we want to make sure that when you're in the room, you're going to be learning everything that you need to know. Now, who are the speakers? Well, we've got a real mixed bag of speakers, so you can find out everything about everything. So people like Leanne will be joining us, of course. We've got people from across the UK, Europe. We've also got some of the well-known names over in America who will be joining us as well. So people like Gustin Sun, who is the celebrity funnel builder. So he's known for building funnels for Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, Dean Graziosi. Who's the other guy that we're speaking about that does the events with Dean? His name has escaped me. The life coach, Leanne. Tony Robbins. That's it.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, so he's got funnels, for all these guys. We've got James Hurst. Yeah, so James Hurst is the founder of The Marketing Show. It's one of the biggest YouTube channels for marketing on YouTube. He's one of the first ever people to start using high level. We've got people such as Andy Audate, incredible speaker. He's going to show people how he's using webinars to generate all the sales for his platform. So multi-seven figures. We've got people locally. So Aaron Darchin, so not so well known, but the stuff that he knows is incredible, just in terms of how you can create sales teams and follow up and leveraging the system. Rupert Samuel, huge app builder within the platform, used to be one of the biggest well-known names over in ManyChat a few years ago, came over to high level doing incredible things, and more and more and more. Sam Barefoot, she's going to be speaking, showing you guys how she's generated over 200 million views on her social media and how you can create your short form video content as well. So there's such a stacked lineup, but all of them share a couple of things in common. Number one, it's going to be great value and information. You're going to learn a lot of stuff. But number two, it's going to be provided in such a way that you can take action on this, because events are great for content, to learn new things, perhaps to be reminded of things that you've forgotten about, but it's all about implementation and taking action. And that's especially going to happen to those who join us on day 2 for the mastermind as well, because that's where we're going to take everything that was learned in day 1, and everyone's going to get a chance to be coached and supported by the speakers, to have their business plans, their strategies heard, and really put in place a solid marketing strategy and business strategy in place. So it is lining up to be a really great event. I'm really excited.
Cool. Amazing. And where can people get their tickets?
So to buy tickets, first of all, you can grab a ticket through Leanne. So I'm sure there'll be a link that you can purchase a ticket from. So make sure you use that link. But if you go to the ultimatesassummit.com, you'll find all of the details, all of the information there. In actual fact, we're doing something really cool, which is one of the reasons that you should definitely click on the link that Leanne is providing as well. And I've never seen this done before, and we're really excited about this. And it is our idea of sit with me. And so usually, whenever I've been to events, the speakers, you'll see them, then they'll disappear. Or they'll be sat at the back of the room, right, just amongst themselves at a slightly highly elevated level. And you think, well, seems such a shame they're just there sat on their phone. We could be talking to these people. We thought, well, maybe we should do something similar. So we created the Sit With Me idea. And it means that if you buy a ticket through one of the speakers, cabaret style tables, you can actually sit with them in the room. So you get to watch the summit with them, but it also gives you the opportunity to just ask them questions and just pick their knowledge throughout the day. And also for our speakers, it gives them the opportunity to really just share more of that knowledge that they were sharing on stage. So it's a really cool way to do it. We're really excited about that. And it means that tickets are limited for each of us speakers. So make sure you click on the link wherever it is somewhere, and you grab that ticket so you can be a part of what Leanne is going to be doing on the day.
I'm really excited about that. I just think that's so lovely because it's so true. I love going to events. I if I could go to an event every week, I probably would, but there just aren't that many in the UK. However, I just think that to have the opportunity to really connect with the speakers and the people who are sharing knowledge, because there's always questions afterwards. And I definitely have a very strong belief that proximity is power. And so being able to tap into that genius, even if it is only for a couple of hours or a day or even 5 minutes, makes such a difference, because you may take just one nugget that will change how you think about something and move you forward. So I love that. So anyone who wants to sit with me, I would love to have you at my table. I am a chatterbox of note. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to share everything I can, or at least be able to refer you and introduce you if that's what's needed. Danny, it has been phenomenal to chat to you. I cannot wait. I'm positively sizzling inside for the event in Birmingham on the 24th and 25th of May. I've booked my accommodation. I've blocked my calendar. I'm working on my keynote, and I cannot wait to share everything that I've learned about Go High Level and my journey, and how you too can actually package up your zone of genius and love every minute of it. So Danny, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you in Birmingham.
Thanks for having us.